which it kind of felt that you're in a roller coaster. Got to ride quads on the sand dunes, which it was pretty epic. We got to go on car rides on the dunes themselves too. We drove through this, skeleton coast. You get to see these like jackals just lounging on the beach. There's so many other activities that you can do that are not traditional on a game drive. We be honest, I was really amazed at the experience that I had in Namibia. It is extraordinary. The landscapes are like nothing else. You've got these like massive sand dunes, huge open salt plains that look almost otherworldly, and incredible silence. Fewer visitors than in the Serengeti or the Masai Mara. So you often have sightings completely to yourselves. That changes how it feels. To stargazing at nights, it's so beautiful. There's no light pollution. For those astronomers out there, Namibia is the place to be. You're listening to Safari Scoop, where we take you inside the heart of Africa, one story at a time. I am Baraka.
And I am Margaret. Today we are bringing you another quick look into the wildlife moments and magic that makes African safari truly unforgettable. Welcome back to Safari Scoop. I am Margaret. Joining me as always is Baraka, our CEO. So Baraka, I have to say you just got back from Namibia, and I have been dying to hear about it. But before we get into that, I want to start with something we get asked all the time. What does a safari day actually look like? Because I think a lot of people picture it as just driving around, hoping to spot something. And it's so much more than that. Can you tell us?
It really is. And Namibia is actually a perfect place to talk about this because the days there have such a specific feel. But yes, let's start with the basic because I think the structure of a safari day surprises a lot of people.
Okay, walk us through it from the very beginning, like alarm goes off. What happens?
So you're up early. We're talking about 5:30 a.m., sometimes even a bit before that. And the first thing you notice is that it's still dark outside. You're having coffee before sunrise, which sounds rough until you're actually doing it. There's something really special about those quiet minutes before the day fully starts. Then you head out for the morning game drive or the morning activity that you have, usually around 6. And that's 2 to 3 hours out in the bush. And the reason we go so early is not just tradition, but because that's when animals are mostly active. Or it's a little bit cooler so that it's not too hot outside. Lions are finishing up their night. Elephants are moving before it gets too hot. You get to see things that in the morning light that I simply won't see later in the day.
And then you come back for breakfast, right? Which I hear is a whole thing on itself.
You are absolutely right, Margaret. Bush breakfast is one of those things that guests always talk about when they get home. Sometimes it's back at the camp. Sometimes the guides set it up. A little table right outside in the middle of nowhere. Coffee, you get croissants, and you get just sitting there with the bush all around you. It's one of the favorite parts of the day, to be honest.
Okay, so after breakfast, what happens? Because I know this is the part people are always surprised by.
To be honest, this is the part where nobody expects. Midday is about rest time. You go back to the camp or you just stop. The animals found shade and they are not really moving around much. So there's no point for being out there baking in the sun. You rest, you read, you swim if there's a pool, or you chat about what you saw in the morning. And every single guest I've ever had, every one of them says the same thing when they arrive. I'm not going to be able to just sit around and do nothing. And then by day 3, that midday break is their favorite part of the day as well.
I love that because we're so used to feeling every minute when we travel.
Exactly. And the bush kind of forces you to slow down, which is actually one of the things that people say changes them the most. Then around 4 in the afternoon, you head back out there for an evening activity. Another 2 to 3 hours. The light is completely different. The gorgeous golden hour light. The predators are active again. And often the guides will stop out in the field for a sundowner. a drink while the sun goes down, which honestly is one, once you've done it, you will never forget it. And especially in Namibia, they really take their sundowners seriously. Then dinner is usually around the campfire, and you sleep better than you have slept in years.
You know what? I've heard that so many times. People come back saying they slept so deeply. What do you think that's about?
I think it's because you've been genuinely present all day. Not looking at the screen, not multitasking, just actually being somewhere. Your brain and your body both gets the kind of rest that they don't usually get. It adds up.
Okay, so tell me about Namibia, because most people think of Kenya or Tanzania when they think of a safari. Namibia feels more mysterious to me. Tell me about it.
It is extraordinary. The landscapes are like nothing else. You've got these like massive sand dunes, huge open salt plains that look almost otherworldly, and incredible silence. Fewer visitors than in the Serengeti or the Masai Mara, so you often have sightings completely to yourselves. That changes how it feels. To be honest, I was really amazed at the experience that I had in Namibia. There's so many other activities that you can do that are not traditional on a game drive. We got to ride quads on the sand dunes, which it was pretty epic. We got to, go on car rides on the dunes themselves too, which it kind of felt that you're in a roller coaster. We drove through this, skeleton coast. You get to see these jackals just lounging on the beach. It was incredible. And the stargazing at night. It's so beautiful. There's no light pollution. For those astronomers out there, Namibia is the place to be.
It is indeed a place to be. And, just picturing that image in my head, it must be incredible. And I think that's the thing safari isn't really about, having a list of animals to tick off, is it?
Not at all. The guests who enjoy most are always the ones who go with an open mind to whatever that happens in the bush. Because the day has its own logic. The bush shows you what it wants to show you. And then when you stop expecting something specific, you start noticing everything around you.
I love that, Baraka. And thank you so much for sharing your inspiration for Namibia. I'm sure our listeners and people who are watching, they are going to get inspired to go to Namibia. And I think that's a good reminder that you don't need to be a wildlife expert or a nature person to love a safari. You just need to show up and be open. Next week, we're getting into something a lot of you have asked about. Is actually Africa safe? Subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for listening.
And thanks, everyone. And if you have a question about what a day looks like on a specific type of a trip, just drop them in the comments. See you next week. Thanks for joining us on a Safari Scoop.
If you enjoyed today's story, follow the podcast for more moments from the wild to vibrant cultures and stunning shores.
Until next time, stay curious,
stay inspired, and keep Africa in your heart.